Shalom, shalom.
So,
The brothers of Great Millstone, Charlotte, coming at you again through the spirit and power of YashamiAhla. And before we get started with this lesson, we'd like to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachaha Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who taught us the truth and rule well. Peace and blessings unto the hopeful elect, pushing his word throughout the four corners of the earth in truth, righteousness, and sincerity. To you we say shalom.
shalom. All right, so back again with Gawayam or Gawayam, which is the nations. We finished with we had Esau, Aishawa, Mawa Abba, Aimwan, which is Ammon. So now we're moving on to YashamiAhla, which is Ishmael or Ishmael. All right, his name means uh, the Most High hears. So we got this right here. This is Bara'ash, Genesis chapter 18 and verse 11. It says, "In the angel
16, Salakia.
16, my bad, Salakia." It says, "The angel of the Lord said unto her, Behold, thou art with child, and shalt bear a son, and shalt call his name YashamiAhla, because the Lord hath heard thy affliction, and he will be a wild man. His hand will be against every man, and every man's hand against him, and he shall dwell in the presence of all his brethren." So could we go into the commentary, Baba Koshah?
Come on.
Yeah, right there.
Okay, Khan.
It was verse 12.
Oh, it's verse 12, Salakia.
Yeah, right there. It says, "You shall call his name Ishmael, because the Lord hath heard your affliction." The name Ishmael means God will hear, or God hears, or whom the Most High will hear. We may take this as a prompting to pray for a revival and spiritual awakening among the Arab peoples, because when they cry out to Yahweh, which eat the meat, spit out the bones, but pretty much going into the name of the word of the meaning of the word YashamiAhla, which means the Most High will hear, whom the Most High hears, and then also God hears. It says, "He shall be a wild man; his hand shall be against every man, and every man's hand against him." The life of Hagar's son would not be easy, but the Most High would still look over him and sustain him, which is an example of that in Genesis. We'll get that out of Tazah, which that doesn't deter from the fact of that he doesn't come from the righteous lineage, but at a specific time, the Lord, the scriptures say that he pretty much made him into like a great people,
Right.
But it says, "Remember that the ill effect of this, a wild man, his hand shall be against every man, every man's against him. Every man's hand against him has been mostly seen in violence and murder among Arabs themselves. They kill each other even more than they kill Uz and so-called Christians for their own sake, even more than ours. We pray." But pretty much the point, like that's the point, because the scripture say he'll be a wild man. That's why you see in all the movies, you turn on like used to go to like Al Jazeera, or like CNN. You got them running around with the motherfucking bombs on their chest, pulling the strings and shit. That's how Ishmael get down, and essentially that goes into his wild nature. That's why it goes back to, it says, "He shall be a wild man, his hand against every man, and every man's hand against him." You see, because essentially Ishmael take himself out just to take somebody else out. He's very wild. And we got an article just going into that.
Jake got it. I mean, not Jake. What am I saying? Salakia. Ishmael got a damn screw loose, man. Just out here causing all kinds of mayhem.
Right.
He'll take out the whole block, strapped with damn explosives, man. That's just his nature. What article you want me to get?
It said, why are Arabs so mad?
Oh, con. Right here it says, "Why are Arabs so angry?" You want me to read from the top?
Did it say anything in there?
Let me see. I'll read from right here.
Okay.
It says, "But what I cannot." Oh, let me increase the size. Sorry, it's so small. There we go. But it says, but what I cannot understand is why people of Middle Eastern origin are so angry and hot-headed. I realize that anger and hostility are universal, not just Arab traits, but based on what I deal with and hear on a constant daily basis, I'll say that the Arabs are the most hot-headed every time.
Which that's you know, he's being double minded, but pretty much the point was the title of the forum. You know, essentially, you know, it said that they're
Right,
angry. You know, that essentially plays into their character. You know, going
right.
into how he will be a wild man. You know, and pretty much the various examples that we got. You know, but when you go into the word Ishmael, YashamiAhla, could you go back to the blue letter Baba Kusha if you didn't have nothing?
Khan. Let's see.
And we just go into his name. Yep. Which that Yah, we stay right there. The Yah goes into he, the Shah
Mhm.
that will go into the teeth, which is Shan, and with your teeth, you know, it goes into Shanan, which means to inculcate or to teach, you know, and then that Ma goes into Mayam, which is water, and how the scriptures say, pretty much Psalms 104 and 25, you know, going into how the creeping beasts that are innumerable in the seas. And then also Jeremiah 31 and 37 talks about if Esau could search out, you know, the whole heavens and the whole earth, you know, pretty much going into how the waters, you know, is very mysterious and it's unknown. He hasn't searched out everything in the earth, you know. So when you
Mhm.
put Shah and Ma together, it goes into Sham. So Shah, it goes into teach. Ma is going into what's unknown, something that's mysterious. Because when you go into Sham, you know, you actually Sham means name. You know, when like the elders and apostles go into nomen omen, because a name it tells what someone's about or what they came to do. So essentially, um, when Hagar, if I'm not mistaken, was you know, essentially crying out to the Lord or being
Mhm.
afflicted, you know, essentially the Lord or the angel had came to her and said, "Hey, name your son this," because essentially that was prophesied, and which that was a
Nomen,
foreshadowing
omen.
of another
Right.
scripture. So could we get just to prove that? Could we get Hosea 12 and 10, Baba Kushah?
Khan. Hosea 12 and verse 10, and it reads, I have spoken, I have also spoken by the prophets, and I have multiplied visions, and used similitudes by by the ministry of the prophets.
Right. So the whole scriptures, you know, if we take, you know, the example with Noah inside the when he was in the ark, you know, with the water, all right, and then different examples of how Lot was in the ancient world. You know, all of these are foreshadowings and similitudes and something that's mirrored, so to speak, to show what the elect will be doing in this time. You know, those specific examples, but then even with this example, you know, it was spoken, it was prophesied, but then actually that's what actually took place, and we'll get that example, Lord, as well in Genesis chapter 21, and we start at verse 9.
Khan. This is Genesis chapter 21, starting at verse 9. It reads, and Sarah saw that Hagar was barren, and she bare not again.
This is Bara'ash Genesis 21 and verse 9. It says, and Sarah saw the son of Hagar the Egyptian, which she had born unto Abraham, mocking. Wherefore she said unto Abraham, cast out this bondwoman and her son, for the son of this bondwoman shall not be heir with my son, even Yatazachak, which is Isaac, because his name goes into he laughs. All right. And it says, and the thing was very grievous in Abraham's sight because of his son. And the Most High said unto Abraham, let it not be grievous in thy sight because of the lad, because of thy bondwoman, and all that Sarah hath said unto thee. Hearken unto her voice, for in Yatazachak Isaac shall thy seed be called, because the righteous lineage followed with Isaac, you know, down to Yaaiqua, Jacob, you know, the 12 tribes. All right. And it says, for in Isaac shall thy seed be called, and also of the son of the son of the bondwoman will I make a nation, because he is thy seed. Because the Lord had made him into a nation. All right, it says, and Abraham rose up early in the morning and took bread and a bottle of water and gave it to Hagar, putting it on her shoulder, and the child sent her away, and she departed and wandered in the wilderness of Baar Shabai, and the water was spent in the bottle, and she cast the child under one of the shrubs, and she went and sat her down over against him a good way off, as it were a bow shot, for she said, let me not see the death of the child. And she sat over against him and lifted up her voice and wept. And the Most High heard the voice of the lad, because going into the meaning of his name, YashamiAhla, he whom the Most High hears. Baba Kushak, could we click into Ishmael? Should be
Let me just search your name up.
it should be in verse you go to, yeah, just search the name because it's not popping up.
Yeah, I don't see it. Let me see. All right.
And then scroll down to the Strong's. Bokusha.
Right there.
You keep going into the Brown's Brown. I think it's Brown's lexicon right there. Strong's Hebrew Gensinius. It says whom the Most High hears. Because going back, it says Genesis 21 and verse 17. It says, and the Most High heard the voice of the lad. Right here, YashamiAhla, whom the Most High hears. Going into his name. So it says, and the Most High heard the voice of the lad, and the angel of the Most High called to Hagar out of heaven and said unto her, what aileth thee, Hagar? Fear not, for the Most High hath heard the voice of the lad where he is. Arise, lift up the lad, and hold him in thine hand, for I will make him a great nation. And the Most High opened her eyes, and she saw a well of water, and she went and filled the bottle with water and gave the lad drink. And the Most High was with the lad, and he grew and dwelt in the wilderness and became an archer. And he dwelt in the wilderness of Paran, and his mother took him a wife out of the land of Egypt, Matazarium. You see, so essentially, the Lord had heard him, and that went into his name, you see, but he's still not part of the righteous lineage, because it said, in just like it says in Romans, and thy seed, or could we get it? You know where it's at in Romans?
Con. Let me see. Damn, how's it go?
It
I know
said
what you're talking about.
it should be accounted for the seed or something like that, or
Yeah, counted for the seed. Yep. Right here. Romans chapter 9 and verse 8. Salakia. It reads, that is, they which are the children. Hold on. I'm going to start at verse 7. It says, neither because they are the seed of Abraham are they all children, but in Isaac shall thy seed be called.
Right, going back up to Genesis, Barbara Ashith, chapter 21 and 21, and let me get it. It says verse Salat. I just had it. Genesis 21 and 12, and the Most High said unto Abraham, let it not be grievous in thy sight because of the lad, and because of thy bondwoman, and all that Sarah hath said unto thee, hearken unto her voice, for in Isaac shall thy seed be called. And pretty much the scriptures, it reiterates, and expounds on what was written in the Old Testament, and in the scriptures, it expounds on points, so Genesis 21 and 12 is expounded in Romans the 9th chapter.
Con. I want to get something just to back up your point real quick. Because it explains it also in Genesis 17. Genesis 17 and verse 18. Get it real quick. It says, verse 17, Genesis 17 and 17, it says, then Abraham fell upon his face and laughed and said it in his heart, shall a child be born unto him that is 100 years old, and shall Sarah live? Slakia, and shall Sarah that is 90 years old bear? So this is whenever the was it the angel? No, it was I guess it was the angel, right, that was talking to him, or it was the Lord. I think it was the Lord that was talking to him and
Hmm.
told him that Sarah will bear a child, you know, and pretty much, of course, that's why they laughed and called Isaac because of it means laughter. But
Yep.
going to 18, it says, "And Abraham said unto the Most High, Oh, that Ishmael might live before thee." And right here it says, "And the Most High says, Sarah thy wife shall bear thee a son indeed, and thou shalt call his name Isaac, and I will establish my covenant with him for an everlasting covenant, and with his seed after him." Right? And here's that point that we made in that verse, Genesis 21. It says, "And as for Ishmael, I have heard thee. Behold, I have blessed him, and will make
Mm.
him fruitful, and will multiply him exceedingly. 12 princes shall he beget, and I will make him a great nation."
Yeah, and that's pretty much. We got some articles going into that because they ride around with the cars and stuff. They got cheetahs, sitting
Mm,
inside the passenger seat. They got bread over there, because they got. It says and will make him a great nation because also going into pretty much how they living good. They
right.
got the oil. They can
Hmm.
make the different deals with Esau. The scriptures say that Esau will have the fatness of the earth. You see, but the fat part, the abundance that can also go into oil. Which that's chief. That's going into Esau's his blessing. You see, but this is pretty much the point that Ishmael they got oil. The petroleum. So they are they're a great nation. They got money. But I'm gonna get this. Go back to Romans. This is Romans chapter 9 and verse. It's a lot. This is Romans 9:7. It says, "Neither because they are the seed of Abraham are they all children, but in Isaac shall thy seed be called." It says, "That is, they which are children of the flesh, these not the children of the Most High," talking about Ishmael, because the promises were supposed to go to Isaac, down to Yaakov, but the children of the promise are counted for the seed, because going back to what it says, "In Isaac shall thy seed be called," Genesis the 17th chapter. It says, "For this is the word of the promise at this time will I come, and Sarah shall have a son." And not only this, but when Rebekah also had conceived by one, even by our father Isaac, for the children for the children being not yet born, neither having done any good or evil, that the purpose of the Most High according to the election might stand, not of works, but of him that calleth. You see, so essentially, going into what we were saying, essentially the seed was called in Isaac, Yaakov, going to the 12 tribes, because you still got Ishmael. Ishmael still be trying to, they still low key still be trying to fight for the birthright. They do they're into that, Islam and stuff like that.
Hmm. God, Salakia, brother. My shit just ended up freezing up and it closed me out.
Con.
Let me get that article for Wikipedia.
Oh, you can go to that.
God. Um, Pretty much it says the economic history of the Arab world. You want me to go down to where it says oil?
Yeah, yeah, we can touch on that.
Con. Where's it at? Right here. It says oil, the discovery of large petroleum deposits in the early 20th century revolutionized the economy of much of the region, particularly in the states of Iran, Iraq, Saudi Arabia, and the UAE. I believe was that the United Emirate Empire or something like that.
Yeah, United Emirates. Yeah, something like, yeah, you're
Con.
right.
It says Kuwait and
Hmm.
Qatar.
Yeah, which one Qatar goes into it goes into something that you burn, more specifically in Hebrew, Bahalashwan Kwadash Qatar, incense. That's incense in Hebrew. Qatar or Qatarat will be incense, but it's essentially going into something that you burn. So what they got in Qatar, what they call it Qatar, they got a lot of like petroleum and stuff like that. So it's very rich and abundant in those different oils. That whole region right there. So I want to actually get this scripture again. This is Genesis 17 and 20. It says, and as for YashamiAhla, I have heard thee. Behold, I have blessed him, going into his blessings, and will make him fruitful and multiply him exceedingly. 12 princes shall he beget, and I will make him a great nation. I want to go into this NLT. Well, I'm getting this word for great. All right, this word for great. It says gadol, and it says in important things. It says greatness. Some of what makes him great is the amount of business he can do with Esau Edom. Because he has all that oil over there. So essentially, he has a good portion. He was blessed with that portion of land.
Right. Khan. It says in Qatar, surrounding the Persian Gulf, which are among the top oil or gas exporters worldwide.
And if I'm not mistaken, that's why America's being affected by them going over to or ditching the petrodollar. Because they essentially America relies on other countries using that petrodollar. You see, but with these other countries going to things like the BRICS, it's essentially doing something to the economy.
Khan. It says Algeria, Libya, Egypt, Tunisia, and Sudan all have smaller but significant reserves.
Right, significant reserves because they're still used.
Right. That's the reason why you see their economy the way that it is. Because I believe there was a video I believe it was on Instagram where it shows how the economy over there in Qatar and them Saudi Arabian countries, how they don't have no taxes. They pretty much they're living good. They have free medical care. Like they're pretty much living it up.
Mm-hmm.
They're pretty much a first world country over there. Over here
Right.
in America, you can't like people can barely afford shit. But here you have these Ishmaelites living it up in their country. Just adding to the point how they're benefiting from the blessings that they've received.
Con, could you scroll down to where it says East Africa?
Khan. It says East Africa, more specifically Sudan, positioned itself for growth through the oil trade. With a sense of possible hope for Sudanese economic profit, Arabs financed manufacturing motives in Sudan, expanding products to help industrialize Sudan during the late 20th century. Despite the Arabs placing finances within Sudan territory, this seemed to have caused more issues as Ethiopians swarmed into Sudan, putting Sudan into a financially tough situation.
Con, but pretty much the point I wanted to get out of this was it says Arab. So could we go back to the blue letter and get the name for Ishmael, because essentially he was the forefather of the Arabs.
Let me go back down to the Jacinius.
Con.
Right here.
It ain't pop up.
Oh, Salakia. There you go. My bad.
Con says, whom the Most High hears, which we got that prophecy in Genesis. It says YashamiAhla, the son of Abraham by Hagar, his concubine, the ancestor of many Arabian tribes. Which it says many Arabian tribes because they got different stories that is not essentially proven, going into Joktan, because essentially, he pretty much was dwelling in those lands, but the Arabs, the forefather will be YashamiAhla. So it says the ancestor of many Arabian tribes. It says Arabs descended from YashamiAhla, trading with Egypt, wandering as nomads from the east of the Hebrews, and from Egypt as far as the Persian Gulf and Assyria. It says which same limits are elsewhere assigned to the Amalekites. It says the killer of Gadolia and several others. So essentially, YashamiAhla Ishmael will be the forefather of the Arabian nation. So from there, could we get Ecclesiastes chapter? I think it's chapter 4. and verse 12 or 16, verse 16, and that'll be it. That's all I have for this one.
Con. This is Ecclesiastes chapter 4 and verse 16, and it reads, "There is no end of all the people, even of all that have been before them. They also that come after shall not rejoice in him. Surely this also is vanity and vexation of spirit."
All right, so the Lord created, 18 nations, he created
Hmm.
12 tribes, which all of those tribes, well, going into Dan, we'll find out what happened with Dan, in the kingdom, you see, but every peoples that the Lord created are still here on this planet Earth,
That's right. That's
Yeah, that's
right.
pretty much all I had, bro.
Con. I just want to bring out this article
Oh, yeah, I
real
forgot about the
quick.
article, my bad.
Oh, no, you're good. I just want to go over it real quick. Just going into Wikipedia, it says Ishmaelites. It says the Ishmaelites, just to further back up this point, right? It says were a collection of various Arab tribes,
Mm-hmm.
tribal confederations, and small kingdoms described in Abrahamic tradition as being descended from and named after Ishmael, a prophet according to the Quran, the first son of Abraham and the Egyptian Hagar. Right. So even Wikipedia tells you, that they're descendants or the Arabs are descendants of Ishmael. Right. You have a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people trying to debunk that point, and say different things, but you know, hey, just as the Spirit bear witness with our spirit that we are the children of the Most High, so do certain things in the Scriptures bear that spirit that these people have are aligned with Ishmael.
And if I could add too, they even it's some that even boast in that. They even say, okay, this is their forefather, because
Hmm.
they be keeping up with that type of stuff. They keep up with where they come from and things like that.
Right. Yeah. That was another point I wanted to get. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Uh, Salaki, I can't find it. Hold on. Okay, right here. Here's one right here. It says Assyrian and Babylonian royal inscriptions. So this is further evidence proving that the Arabians are descendants of Ishmael, right? It says Assyrian and Babylonian royal inscriptions and northern Arabian inscriptions from ninth to 6th century BC. It says mention the king of Kedar. In the scriptures is with a K, Kedar.
Hebrew, it's quadar, like meaning
Huh.
dark.
Right. It's Quadar.
Mm-hmm.
But I know I try to look this up uh in the blue letter, and well, at least in the English, it's spelled with a K. So this
Yeah,
is that same word,
yeah.
right? Quadar. But it says sometimes as Arab and sometimes as Ishmaelite. It says the names Nabat, Kedar, there it is right there, or Quadar. It says Abdil, Duma, Masa, and Teman, which I don't know about that, but it says were mentioned in the Assyrian royal inscription as Arabian tribes. So there you go. This is for the point, man. I don't think when Teman that's Esau, so I don't know why that's there, but
I think they put Timon because in Hebrew it's Tayaman, and the Yaman will be to the right. So to the right is the south. Talking about Yemen.
oh,
But
okay,
it could be like a typo or something like that, but it
con
could be going into that.
con. It probably just could be Esau just trying to hide himself.
Right, right.
But yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, again we went into Ishmael, YashamiAhla. Our Lord is with us, a beautiful edification through the Spirit. While we can go ahead and close it up by saying, Call light and law, Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shah Bahasham, Chah Kodash. A double honor to elders and apostles of great millstone that taught us the truth and rule well. And much respect to you, bros, out there pushing the truth with all righteousness and sincerity. Shalom, shalom. Halayla Tawab, shalom.
Shalom.